Yeah, my topic today is Oskari Embedded Maps and integrations with RPC API. So pretty much what Arto was talking about embedded maps, I will discuss a bit about the API that you can actually use to integrate into things or further utilize the embedded maps that you have created. And just a couple of words, like was mentioned, I switched jobs after last Phosphor-G, so end of August last year. I switched to Gispo, and basically for pretty much 10 years before that I worked for the National Land Survey and with Sami and Arto and all the great people there. But 10 years is a long time, so I decided I want to try something else as well, or see something else as well. But in any case, I still decided to write my abstract on Oskari and talk about Oskari here today, because it's still kind of a great technology and I would say underutilized in many ways still, and has still a lot of potential for growth. But before we get to that, just a couple of words about our little company here. Gispo, founded in 2012, already more than 10 years old, 20 plus employees, so I think the exact number could be something like 24, 23 during summer when we have some trainings as well. We do consultancy, development, training, maybe mostly consultancy and training, also some development. I'm actually the head of development now at Gispo. What else do? We give support for using Phosphor-G, so not so much for Oskari so far, but also for that in the future probably, and a lot of QGIS support and GeoServer support, PostGIS, PostgreSQL support, that kind of thing. So if you're interested in any of those, just come and talk to us in this conference. There's a kind of a tagline. Maybe I'm not going to read it out loud, so I have some time for the actual presentation as well. But you can read that. So we support basically anything and everything which related to Phosphor-G and open data and that kind of things. So what I am going to talk about today, the content or agenda for this presentation, I hope this is about right. Let's see how the slides come after this. A brief introduction. Those who were following the first two presentations will be super bored, so I'm sorry for you guys, because you already know what Oskari is probably, but I will just briefly go through. Again, there are also some couple people who came here who were not present at the two previous presentations. Then trying to explain the difference or two ways of utilizing Oskari. Arto was also had a great introduction on that. Maybe it will be a kind of, I will redo the same things maybe a bit, but again, there are some new people here, so that's fine. A bit on the embedded maps, which is the actual topic, and the RPC API, which is the kind of the main topic of this presentation. In the end, I have also some examples and a demonstration. Let's see how the network is cooperating with us in the demonstration section. We'll see when we get there. First of all, introduction. Oskari is an open source web map framework. This is something at least I have settled now on since, for example, MapStore has the exact same description for their software. So you can pretty much compare Oskari to MapStore, I would say. And it's a web map framework is a good description. So you can build things like WebGIS and web maps, and you can integrate to many types of existing services. Like was mentioned in the previous presentations, it has been developed by National Land Survey of Finland originally. I think it started in 2009 or something, and open sourcing probably happened in 2011. I hope that's about right. Anyway, more than 10 years ago, it's a very mature project and an active project still, based on Java, the backend, and front-end is browser-based. Maybe I could say JavaScript-based or HTML-based, whatever. What that means, it runs in any web browser, so you don't really have to care what kind of a device you have. You can use it in any, if you just have a browser in your device. And utilizing spatial data infrastructures, this was also mentioned by Sami, that the kind of how we have developed, or how Oskari has been developed from the start, is to utilize APIs and not to actually upload data into your Oskari instance. You can do that as well, and it supports that kind of thing. But the kind of main focus has always been on the spatial data infrastructures where you actually have services running by different organizations and you just fetch the data real time from the actual service interfaces or service APIs. So 2 ways of using Oskari I mentioned in the start. These are the not maybe the best pictures, but you can actually use Oskari in 2 ways, and this is kind of key of understanding Oskari. You can set up this kind of full-fledged WebGIS solution that I have called it here. I don't know, maybe it's a pretty fancy name for it, but anyway, something like Map Store. So on your left-hand side, you have the Arctic SDI GeoPortal, which is an example of this full-fledged WebGIS solution. So you have a kind of a menu on the left-hand side of that picture, which has all the Oskari components or tools and etc. that it has. And then you can, if you want something more minimalistic or you don't want to have kind of this full-fledged thing, you want something more limited, you can do these embedded maps. And these embedded maps you do with the full-fledged WebGIS thing. So you have Oskari running somewhere and you use that to create embedded maps for specific use cases. I will go more into details on that in just a couple of seconds, I think, or after this slide. This is about the full-fledged thing again, like the left-hand side thing that is with all the menus and all the functionality. So for that, that's more like for professional use or advanced use. So you have all the data, all the tools, all the things that Oskari supports or has can be pretty much offered via that, and everything is there, whatever you need. And probably it looks a bit cluttered if you're seeing it for the first time. It has so many tools, it has so many options. You might not even know what to do. But if you're a professional, you've seen QGIS, for example, then you know that okay, this has a lot of buttons and things that you can do. But if you're a regular, let's say, citizen, you might want something less with less content or less cluttered as a user interface. So it has to be simple. If you're not a geospatial professional, you're not someone who has worked with these things for 10 years, you might want something much more simple and easy to use. So for this, we have the embedded maps. And what Oskari provides, it provides the functionality that you can create these published maps and you can embed those into your websites. You can also use these kind of published maps or embedded maps as is. So you can just take a link that you get from Oskari and open that link in a browser. It will work just as well as anything. You don't have to embed it actually, you can just use it as it is. Usually these are created for a specific use case. So like Arto had in his presentation a couple of demonstrations, like showing the location of an office or many offices, or doing a routing thing for the office or whatever. So that's like maybe the simplest kind of thing. Our office is here, and this is how you get there. Or you can have something more complicated or complex. I will have a couple of examples myself in the end of this presentation. And of course, these specific use cases don't need all of those tools that Oskari provides, so you can actually just point and click. You select your tools that you want on your embedded map. You might not even want a zoom bar, you might not want geolocation, you might not want a search, but you might want any of these or all of these. So you can just point and click, super easy, no skills required at all to create those. And what this ends up or results in is less cluttered, of course, user interface, much more mobile friendly. For example, you don't have 20 buttons, you have 3 buttons, and etc. You get the point. The embedded maps are public by default. I think that is still the case. So once you make a published map, it is actually public. Anyone can access that, has the URL to that map. You can do things, of course, to restrict that, but in principle, it's like that. So when you have a published map or embedded map, you can further kind of utilize it or integrate it with existing services. And this is now the kind of main topic of the presentation. I hope I am being as clear with this as I can. So what it actually enables is communication between the map component you have on your site, or you have published, and then the website where that map is being put on. So those two components can kind of talk together, and it will become more clear, I think, in the next slide, latest. Of course, you can have data from external sources, just an example that you can then put on the map or push on the map, whatever, and you can react to whatever the user is doing on the map or whatever the user is doing on the website that is hosting the map. So how do you get to use this RPC? This is a pretty technical part. I think I'll just run through this pretty quickly. So it is utilizing a tiny JavaScript library that's built on top of window post message. I hope I got that right. I was trying to read about that last night when I was finishing this presentation. So it's just kind of standard thing that enables communication between two window components, I suppose. So you take this small snippet or small library on your website, include that script tag, and then you init the connection, open the connection with those two components, and you're ready to go. Or actually, you're ready to go when it tells you you're ready to go, so you will still get this already fired. And then you can start doing your thing. So when you have, like I mentioned, only a few lines of JavaScript, and that's it, you can get started. So what can it be used to once you have this nice little channel there listening to you or taking your messages back and forth? You can listen to events. So some examples for all of these three categories. So an event could be something like after map move. So the user is moving the map, and after that, an after map move event is launched, and you can react to that. So let's say now the user moved to a different location, update the map or whatever. You can listen to events for user location, so you can actually do real-time user location tracking. I hope I'm right with this because we developed it while I was still there. A map clicked, again, very simple thing. User has clicked on the map, so you want to catch that as an event and do something with that information that you can do. You can send requests, and again, these are the same thing. You can send a request to move the map, so you can do that programmatically. If I have time for the demonstration, you will see how that works. Start user location tracking. You can start the tracking and, of course, stop it. Then get route, get route, how you like it. You can integrate with a routing service and then use that to, let's say, find the quickest route to an office or whatever you want. You can call functions, get map bounding box, zoom to, get current state. So with the bounding box, you can just ask what is the current bounding box of the map, and okay, let's say it's this, and the user has searched for something and it's of something type, and you want to zoom to a specific zoom level with that. You can do that with zoom to. Get current state gets you the state of the map. So if you want to provide something like saving and loading the state so the user can come back to whatever he or she was doing, you can do that. And those are just very quick examples. If you want to dive into it, I suggest you open the link there. I hope we can provide the slides also afterwards so people get the links. So that example page is very, very informational and a nice way of learning about the RPC. Now the exciting part. Let's see how we are with the intern here. Okay, so I'm sorry, these are mostly, oh, maybe the other one is in English, but this is only in Finnish and Swedish, but just an example about something that has been implemented using this RPC. So what we have here is an Oskari map made from actually Suomi.fi maps that Arto was presenting, and it's about fishing restrictions in Finland. So you have a web page here surrounding, and then you have a map component that is the published map. And if we zoom in here, all the time when I'm doing these zooms, those RPC API communication is running in the background. So now when I zoomed in here, it fetched me the fishing restrictions in this area. And they are listed here. And if I click here, something happens, or maybe happens. Oh, it's very small. I don't know if you can notice, but this feature was highlighted. So this kind of thing you can do with the API. So they are integrated into whatever system they have. I don't even know what system they have, but they fetch data from some system and then they bring that data on the map and visualize it to you. Let's see how this one is working. The other demo that I wanted to quickly show. Okay. And is it even in English or? I believe it's not. Well, maybe we'll go with Finnish in the interest of time here. So this is, again, it looks like a kind of, it could be Oskari itself, but actually this is, again, just a published map and something built on top of that. So you have, on the left-hand side, a kind of functionality pane or whatever you want to call this, some search functionality, measuring functionality. I don't even know what that is. Probably you can put points on the map and kind of layer configuration you can switch to. Mouse is a bit tricky. Switch to auto photos, etc. But again, this has been completely done utilizing the RPC API and not the full kind of Oskari platform, so to say. Yeah, and those were the two examples. I want to keep it very, very simple. Let's see. I think I had a third one here, but I will just show it as a picture here. I will not, in the interest of time again, go to the demo. So this is something that the Finnish Traffic Infrastructure Agency, I think it's called today, has built in the last couple of years. It's called Suomen Väylät, so traffic infrastructure. And once again, built on Oskari. What you see in the back is a published map, and everything is put on top, and on top there you see kind of a nice UI, nicely themed UI. Everything has been created outside of Oskari and only utilizing the RPC API in the background. A couple of links in the end. I also included the link for some geoportals, just in case you're interested, so you can check those out. And the examples I mentioned or went through here for RPC API integrations and Oskari webpage, Oskari GitHub link. There's also a couple of more interesting links that were included in Sami's and Arto's great presentations, so be sure to check all of those out. And that's it, I think. Yeah, if you want to contact me, that's my name, and then there's another email. And oh, I want to mention this one last thing. Gispo has opened an office in Sweden, so our company is spreading. So we're in Stockholm already now, or Oslo now, and in Finland we have 3 offices. That's it. Thanks.